I'm back by popular demand. And by popular demand, I mean my friend hit me up on Twitter. Shout out to Mo. And he said, "Why haven't you made any YouTube videos?" So we're back. Ready Player One. Ready Player One, I'm a huge fan of the Ready Player One book. I reviewed that book a couple years ago. The video's somewhere on the internet. It's a pretty shitty video. I mean, it's not like this is any better. But I want to talk about the 5 awesome parts about Ready Player One that I absolutely loved, and 5 terrible things about Ready Player One that I hated. This is going to be involving parts of the book, so it's going to have major spoilers. Also, if you haven't seen the movie, what are you waiting for? It's just a beautiful movie. So now I'm going to talk about the 5 good things about Ready Player One. Number 1 is The Shining. The second challenge in the movie was about the Jade Key, about finding the Jade Key, and you had to go through The Shining. And I thought that was so amazing. They made The Shining fun, and they made The Shining scary, and it was just nostalgic, and it was awesome to see those characters interact in the world of The Shining, because in the novel they go into different movies, they go into war games, they go and you have to recreate certain scenes from movies, and they did that in this movie. I didn't expect them to have The Shining, and I thought they knocked it out of the park. That scene was amazing. It's gonna be legendary. Now for number 2, another awesome challenge, which was the car chase scene. The movie literally picks up, it tells you what the Oasis is all about, it tells you what it is, and then boom, right out of the gates they go into this crazy race where it's just obstacles, so many Easter eggs, in Jurassic Park and King Kong. All of that was beautifully done. I was skeptical when I saw the trailers because I was like, why is there a race? And I knew it was going to be different, but this race was extremely satisfying to watch, and it was pretty fun to see Wade just discover something while he was researching James Halliday, and he decided to go backwards. So that was pretty cool. That's the number 2 good part about Ready Player. Number 3 is one of the characters that got changed so much from the book, but I-Rok was actually hilarious. I-Rok was amazing, and that was played by TJ Miller. It was just every time he was on screen, because he had like this whole menacing freaking avatar, but he was just TJ Miller, so it was just hilarious. All his lines and everything he was doing, I actually loved when he was on screen. The first time I watched this movie, I was so disappointed in this character because he was nothing like he was in the book. In the book, he's supposed to be a classmate. He knows him from the school Ludus, and he actually rats out to Sorento. He knows him that he knows Wade, and he goes to a certain school in Ludus, and then that's how they're able to find Wade. In the movie, they made him this villain, and he was just a hilarious villain. It felt like you were watching the Goonies. It was like Spielberg and 80s at his best. So I loved I-Rok. Number 4, again, talking about the Goonies and a villain, Sorento. Nolan Sorento and the IOI Sixer Army. I mean, Nolan Sorento was awesome. He felt like just a goofy villain that was also a little bit threatening, but it was fun. And then I love seeing all the IOI people like freaking out during the Shining scenes and dying at certain moments, like when Chucky gets released. Like, all that stuff was awesome. Seeing everybody on the rigs, everybody in the war room, I thought that was one of the best parts of the movie. 5 is gonna be the Oasis itself. I mean, they depicted the Oasis like they couldn't have done the Oasis better than they did in this movie. It was so fun. You actually get to see a virtual world where everybody's their own avatar. There's people that are higher ranked. So it was like this was the best video game movie we've seen probably ever. And the Oasis, it just makes you hopeful that hopefully in like 15 years from now, we're all gonna be in VR worlds and creating your own world. So I love the world building they did and all the Easter eggs. That was such a great moment. Like, every scene that they were in the Oasis, it was just Easter egg after Easter egg. And I'm pretty sure I've seen different videos and articles saying there's 150, 140, over 180 different Easter eggs. Nobody knows the exact amount, and maybe until the Blu-ray release, but it's so exciting that you just put on the movie and any scene you're gonna be in, you're gonna be looking for freaking Easter eggs. So I can't wait to do that. Now, that was the stuff that I loved about the movie. I'm gonna talk about all the stuff that I disliked and I thought this movie just kind of ruined from the novel and just as a movie itself. Hands down, the worst part about Ready Player One, as somebody that read the book, is Ogden Morrow. OG, Og, whatever you want to call him. His character was completely ruined. I know they gave it a quick twist because he was a curator and stuff like that. Simon Pegg, he was pretty cool as an OG, but they kind of ruined everything that was cool about OG, because I know he wasn't no longer involved with gregarious games, but he was one of the creators of the Oasis, so he knew how to like move around the Oasis. In the novel, he's able to infiltrate their conversations, and when the IOI and the Sixers are actually trying to kill Wade and Samantha and all these guys, in the real world, Ogden Morrow saves them and he flies them out from all over the world. He flies them out to his home in Oregon, and then when you get to his home, it looks like Rivendell because his wife was a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, so he made like the garden and everything look like Rivendell. I wanted to see at least some of that. The party, his birthday party, was supposed to be amazing. It was the dance scene in the movie where they jump off into the anti-gravity zone, but in the novel, he has a party. He's DJing with an R2-D2. He's helping him DJ, and then the Sixers come in, and then he takes them all out. So you actually get to see his power. You get to see him manipulate the Oasis in ways that other people can't, and he helps our heroes succeed by keeping them safe in the real world, not interfering in the actual chase for the Easter egg, but in the real world when the Sixers are actually trying to kill them. So that was actually something I was disappointed about. Number 2 also has to do kind of with OG's party, was that PvP zones and Ludus. Like, that got so disregarded. There was no PvP zones. What that meant in the book was there were certain sections where you could actually fight, where you actually kill people. So in certain schools in Ludus, where Wade was a student in Ludus, they didn't even mention he was in school in the movie, but in Ludus it's called a no PvP zone. That means that no, you can't use any artifacts, you can't use any guns, any swords, you can't fight people, you can't kill somebody. So that means that you're safe to just walk around and do whatever you want. But in the movie they don't address anything about PvP zones. So if you're in the club, when they were in the club, somebody could just stab you from the back and you lose years and years of all your possessions, your coins, and you have to start from zero. You have to zero out, but they don't address it, so you're just comfortable in the club knowing that someone could just kill you at any moment. Because it's a video game, it's not like real life. In real life, you're not going to kill somebody in the club because there's real consequences, but in the game, you're going to kill somebody, take all their coins, but they never address that there's PvP zones. So I thought that was a big mistake. I don't know, what do you guys think about that? Number 3 was character development. That was more because this movie couldn't be 3 hours long, but Daito, Sho, even the romance between the two, it was just so crammed up. So they're supposed to be the high five characters in the leaderboards, and nobody really cared. They just kind of shoved the high five at the end when they already won the contest. But in the novel, you were seeing them in the top, and they're not even friends. H, Daito, and Sho aren't friends. But if you're gonna make them friends in the movie, they didn't even develop any of their characters. They were in for like a couple scenes, and you're supposed to care about them, which was a little bit disappointing because they're pretty cool in the novel. And speaking of Daito and disappointment and differences from the novel, Daito actually died in the novel. He got killed by the Sixers. He got killed by IOY, and Nolan Sorento put a hit on him. He actually died in the real world. In the movie they made his character die because Sorento killed him with the Mecha Godzilla, but in the novel he dies, meaning that this contest is actually means something. There's some real life consequences to this chase. It's not just about your avatar. People are actually dying at the end of the novel. When you find out he dies, you're like, oh man, there's some real stakes attached, and you actually want Wade to succeed. And they kind of just glanced over it. They said, nah, we don't need to put that into the movie. Finally, this is all kind of tied together. How in the world is the Oasis? The Oasis is the greatest thing in the world. Everybody's playing in the Oasis all over the world, in Europe and South America and Africa and Asia, Australia, everybody's in the Oasis. There's millions and millions of players, and the 5 best players in the entire world, they all live in Columbus, Ohio. They're all in Columbus, Ohio. That was just ridiculous. Like, you're telling me like the top 5 best players ever, they're not even claned up. I understand that they were claned up, but they kind of just met randomly. They were all in the same city. That made absolutely no sense. And when the whole world, there's no way. In the novel they addressed this. I mean, you have people from Japan, there are people from all over the US, and Ogden Morrow flies them to his home, and that's when they meet. No, in this movie everybody just lives like a couple blocks away. But that was just the biggest thing. Come on, all 5 of them live in the same city. You guys loved or absolutely hated the movie. I thought the movie was amazing. It's such a fast-paced, fun, Easter egg galore. I mean, it's just such a fun movie. I strongly recommend watching it in 3D. I watched it in regular the first time, and I didn't really like it that much because I was, of course, after reading the book, I was disappointed. In 3D, everything just pops and everything is just so much better. You gotta watch this movie at least 2, maybe 3, 4 times because so many Easter eggs, you're gonna find something new every time. Thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you, Mo, for inspiring me to make this video, and as always, hit me up.